Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at turbotax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at turbotax.com/beatyourprice.
1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome back once again to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. 31 Days of the Dead. Day 15. I am your host, Precious D, and with me again today is my regular co-host, Honeybee.
Hi.
Today, as we continue our zombie shuffling march towards October 31st, we're covering Zombieland Double Tap from 2019, 10 years after Zombieland. They put out a sequel. Except for Abigail Breslin, the rest of them look exactly the same.
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing they waited 10 years to make a sequel, but I thought it was great that they all came back because they're all much bigger stars at this point. On the other hand, they're partly big stars because of this movie, except for Woody Harrelson. He was already doing pretty well. It's, 99 minutes in color and in English. It is also directed by Ruben Fleischer, written by Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, and they had David Callum helping him out this time. The budget was $42 to $48 million, and the box office was $125.2 million. So I don't think they broke any records. They didn't break a record like the last one, but it still was worth
Still
the
did well.
effort.
And tell everyone how your baby mom was in this movie.
My baby mama? Oh!
Yeah, your baby's mother is
Rosario.
in this movie.
Rosario Dawson? Is that who you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
My future baby mama?
Uh-huh, yeah.
My imaginary baby mama?
I was like, as soon as I saw her name in the credits, I was like, oh, yeah.
So apparently they planned a sequel right away, but then it faced delays, and then they wrote a TV pilot, and then that didn't happen. And they just kept, running into one thing after another, and then they finally got it done. Let's look at that cast. Speaking of Rosario, Woody Harrelson is Tallahassee, Jesse Eisenberg is Columbus, Emma Stone is Wichita, Abigail Breslin is Little Rock, Rosario Dawson is Nevada, because she only will give the state she's from. She doesn't want to give out too information. Zoe Deutsch as Madison, which it's unclear because everybody goes by a location name here. She just introduces herself as Madison, and it's unclear, is everybody doing this now? Because she does also seem like she could be a Madison, that might be her real name. But then everybody else we meet. Luke Wilson is Albuquerque. Avon Jogia is Berkeley. Although he doesn't introduce himself as Berkeley, they just call him Berkeley when they find out he's from Berkeley, which is stereotypically hippie. There's a college there where all the hippies go, and he's He's a hippie. But that guy was also in Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, that we did an episode on a few days ago. And Thomas Middleditch is Flagstaff, and it is beyond me why Michael Cera was not cast in that part.
Oh, I was wondering why you were bringing it up in the second movie. I should have thought about it. Yeah, duh.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that. So at one point, they run into a couple characters that are kind of mirrors of Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg. And if you're casting a double for Jesse Eisenberg, it should be Michael Cera.
Yeah.
Or the other way around. And I don't know if maybe they asked him and he said no, or they just thought it was too obvious, or what. But that's fucking nuts.
That's fucking nuts. Yeah, I wonder if they got this idea to do the like mirror group from Shaun of the Dead.
Possibly.
Like if they were inspired by that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's also very like zombie horror comedy, and we see that in that movie. But they do it so well in this movie too. I absolutely adore the scene where they like are meeting their doubles, and like he has rules, he has commandments.
Right.
Well, it's just so good.
And Tallahassee and Albuquerque, they do not like the fact that they're like each other, but Columbus and Flagstaff are happy to meet someone who shares their interest and their worldview. So, so there you go. Honeybee, what did you think of Zombieland Double Tap?
I really enjoyed it. I love the kind of progression from, the beginning of the zombie apocalypse to here we are, and how, they've kind of like, even in the romance part, like they've kind of gotten quote unquote comfortable with each other. Tallahassee is kind of like Little Rock's dad. Like, I kind of like how we like have grown, right, from the first film to this film. I remember when I first watched the film, I didn't love or really understand the Madison character as much. Like, I was kind of like, why are we doing this? But I feel like now watching it, I actually really enjoyed it, and it made me laugh.
Okay.
But like, I don't know. I think in the beginning it annoyed me, and I just didn't understand like what was the point of that. Like, why did we have to add this person? Because I don't see, like, it's not funny to me. But I think now I just found it really funny and silly, and I really loved her just ridiculous character. I will say, when I first saw it, like when it first came out, I had very, very high expectations because the first one is so damn good. And I do think that this one is really good. But I think for me personally, it falls like just an incy bitsy bit short. But I do love like the growth and the progression, how it really does feel like, that these characters have like lived this life while we haven't been able to see them, and now we're getting to like look at them again, and this is where they are. And I love how we did things differently. I love how the zombies changed and also evolved. So yeah, I really love the movie. It is funny. It does make me laugh. It gives the same vibes for sure. I think that I just think it's just not quite as good as the first one, but still amazing, still fantastic.
Right. Well, here's an interesting thing I'm seeing on Wikipedia. Warnick, the one of the writers, says that Woody Harrelson came up to us after the final cut of the last scene and gave us a hug and said, "I've never wanted to do a sequel in the previous movies I've done until this one."
Aww.
So the idea of doing one was there from the beginning. I do think there's everything that's in the first one is in this one, but more the clever titles, there's good music,
Great kills.
The great kills. There's a kill of the year, kill of the century. They are now they are a family. They're a found family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Woody's very much the dad or the granddad. And we continue. There was a thing we didn't mention in the last one, but Woody Harrelson always paints a 3 on the side of whatever car he's driving, which may be for Dale Earnhardt, famous race car driver, was number 3, or it may be the age his son was when he died. It's two competing, or not. Well, these are not mutually exclusive. These could both be true. It's never stated in because of the way he is obsessed with certain celebrities. It seems like the Dale Earnhardt is the most likely, but it could also be true that it's his son's age as well. They go to Graceland in this movie. Graceland has been burned down.
Yes, I love the Graceland.
But then they find a kind of a replica nearby, which is where Rosario Dawson is. Can't believe they didn't play the song Graceland as they were going there.
Damn it. Yeah, that was a missed opportunity. I also love how they're like living in the White House in the beginning.
Yes. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Go big or go home. So they decided to do both and go to the White House. Take it over. We also, as I mentioned in the last one, the Bill Murray thing. Murraying is now a slang term for accidentally killing a person who you think is a zombie but is not a zombie. Somehow,
which is
the story
hilarious.
has spread. And I talked about the self-reflexive metatextual element of the first movie. It's even more so in this one because he's just like, "Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us again. So glad you came to our movie that you're sitting in a theater watching right now." And at the end is another like, "Until next time." Like, well, are you guys going to wait till 2029 for part 3? Can wait another whole 10 years?
Damn.
One note I wrote, I had to pause it to make sure. When they're in the White House and talking about which of them gets to be president just because they're in the White House. At one point, I believe it's Woody Harrelson, signs a pardon for Wesley Snipes because Wesley Snipes had been convicted of tax evasion and was probably in jail at the time this movie was being made. So he issued him a pardon.
That is hilarious.
We don't know if Wesley Snipes is still alive in Zombieland, but he seems to think he might be, so he's giving him a pardon. I liked Madison. I think she's not quite as dumb as she pretends to be. Maybe I'm just giving her the benefit of the doubt. I think it's a coping mechanism. That's how she behaved before all this, and if she just continues to behave that way, everything will be okay. She's basically refused to change and adapt.
Yeah.
And still acting like, "Hey, everything's okay. Life is cool. Hey, I've been living in a freezer, but it's okay." And I feel like there's a little bit of that going on with her character because there's a few times when she sort of snaps out of it and clearly does know what's going on, especially at the very end.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
With Uber Reserve, good things come to those who plan ahead. Family vacay? Reserve your ride as soon as you book your flights. To all the planners, now you can reserve your Uber ride up to 90 days in advance. See Uber app for details.
Yeah, I thought the new cast members fit in really well. Like, it did feel like, you know, they were, like, it was just so well done. It was very good how, like, the new cast members, Madison, and then, like, Albuquerque, and all of these people, even, like, Rosario's character, like, they all just really fit in. And I feel like this movie is kind of like, because it's 10 years later, it was very like, hey, remember when you thought this was funny 10 years ago? Like, remember? Yeah, it's still funny. You know what I mean? And so, like, I feel like this movie was kind of that. And I think that a lot of the new characters really, like, helped build that and, like, add on to it so that it was still new enough that we were like, aha, but it was also still, like, nostalgic enough that we're like, oh my God, remember that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and it does seem like it must be 10 years later for them. They're never explicitly stated, but you can't hide how much Abigail Breslin has grown up since the last movie.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
I said before, they all look, the adults all look pretty much the same, but she's clearly not a little kid.
Well, she was 12, so she's not quite 22 yet. I would say she's more like, I don't know, maybe like late teens of some sort.
I feel
maybe
like the character
17.
is supposed to be 18.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's going through all of that sort of teenage rebellion, and also there's probably some hormones going on, and there's just no options for her. So the first option that shows up, she leaves with, and it's a pacifist. Now here's the thing. This is the part I didn't quite like. The pacifists didn't make sense to me. And let me be clear, ladies and gentlemen. I myself am a pacifist. I don't think that human beings ought to kill other human beings for any reason whatsoever. I'm not, however, a dirty hippie. I'm not a caricature of a pacifist. And should there be a zombie apocalypse or an alien invasion, I will fuck up a non-human.
Damn it.
My pacifism does not extend to zombies and aliens. If the aliens are sentient and want to be peaceful, then maybe I'll treat them like humans. But if they show up and they're just monsters and they're trying to invade and shit, then I'll shoot an alien in the head. And to me, this idea of these people are pacifists and they're going to take a non-conflict, non-violent approach to dealing with zombies just makes no sense. And they abandon it immediately when they're in danger. So they not only don't make sense, but they're also full of shit. So I didn't care for that part. I thought it just didn't make any sense to me.
I do feel like the movie kind of portrays, and maybe this is just Berkeley, but I do feel like it kind of portrays them as like annoying and should be kind of hated. You know what I mean? Like, not that I feel that way in real life about pacifists, but I think the movie plays it as like, this is dumb.
Right, but I didn't care for that because I thought it was a caricature of someone of pacifists, and didn't address it. It didn't make sense in the context, and it's just there to make fun of people who have those beliefs in our world, and so I didn't care for that. And yeah, it just makes them look dumb. And why would they? Now, I'm sure that in Zombieland, though, there is still, because you're probably still going to have humans killing other humans fighting for the limited resources. So there might still be people who are pacifist towards other humans, but they should still be willing to kill a zombie. And
they probably wouldn't actually survive a zombie apocalypse.
Right.
I
think there might also be, so they've set up what they think is a safe environment, and they make you give up your guns when you come in, and they even melt them. And I think that idea is so that there's no conflict inside of their fortress. But they should just, I can understand not wanting people to carry the guns around with them inside, but they shouldn't have melted them. They should have just put them in the armory and like, these are here just in case the zombies come. We don't point guns at humans, but we all need to know how to use them against zombies. So they end up having to come up with alternate techniques. But as soon as the threat appears, they're all like, okay, what do we need to do to fight? I'm like, I thought you didn't want to fight. What is wrong with you? There's also that weird thing about no guns and no group sex. And then this one guy keeps trying to look for, I just thought that didn't quite make sense. I'm like, this seems like exactly the place where there's going to be group sex.
Yeah,
happening.
I think that exactly. Yeah, they're just making fun of like hippies pretty much at that point.
Why would they have that rule? And how does it matter? And why does this one guy keep wanting to break it? Like he was the only one.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's hilarious. I think my only real critique about this movie, and like I don't really mind the like dirty hippie thing so much. Like it is a caricature. I do agree with you. It's like making fun of, you know, my people. No, I'm kidding. No, but it's fine. But I do think my only like real complaint about this movie, okay, maybe two, is one, I feel like the mirror group, like the group that mirrored our group, I kind of wish they were just in it a little bit longer. Like I feel like they came and went very quickly, which was funny and I enjoyed, but I kind of expected them to just like have more of a presence. And then also on the same kind of note, I thought it was strange to like introduce this new evolved zombie, but then really not go anywhere with it. Like we talk about it once and we see that this zombie is like hard to kill, but then like we only ever see that again for a very split moment, like a second at the end of like, oh, here come the what are they called? The T-300s?
T-800s.
T-800s.
Terminators.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, from Terminator. Yeah, right. So I kind of felt like there should have been a little bit more, and maybe it wasn't because it's such a comedy, and like why focus on like the really serious, scary shit, I guess. But I thought like, oh man, like when they're first introducing this new zombie and like they're trying to kill it and it just like won't die. First of all, that scene is incredible. Like all of them, because they've been doing this obviously for maybe 10 years, question mark. So they're very, like they know what the fuck they're doing at this point, right? They all like get to their posts. One guy's, you know, he's like shouting like what time it is, you know, like what time, like at your 6, at 3 o'clock. And they're just like very like a well-oiled machine at this like point.
Yeah.
But then we never really go back to this new evolved zombie. And I kind of was a little disappointed in that. I wanted to like see more of that, know more about it. Not necessarily how it happened, but just like them fighting or like trying to fight, or I don't know. I just thought there wasn't very much of that.
I thought that was the point at the end, that's why the horde heading towards them at the end was such a threat, that they were mostly T-800s.
Right.
And that's why Woody turned right around to go back, because he realized there was a whole, except for one Homer at the end.
Yeah.
That there was a whole swarm of the new kind of zombies coming towards them. So, folks, they've identified in this movie 3 types of zombies to start with. Homers, Hawkings, and ninjas. Homers are just dumb zombies that are slow and easily distracted, and they're not too much of a threat. Hawkings are smart zombies like Stephen Hawking or his sister. I think they mentioned that Stephen Hawking's sister is also quite smart.
Mm-hmm.
And which I was not aware of, and I did not look up to verify, but I'm going to assume that's a true thing. And then the third are ninjas, that they're just kind of quiet and sneaky, and they might jump out at you when you might not see or hear them coming. And then they identify a new type that is just tougher and seems to have evolved from living out on the plains and all the hunting that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They call them T-800s after the Terminator. What does the mirror group call them? I can't remember what they called them, but it was something.
Oh,
something
let
different.
me see if I have it in my notes.
Okay, well, if you find it, we'll come back to it if you find it.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, partly it was just they can't, to add an element of danger that, you know, they've gotten too good at this and too complacent, so we have to make it harder for them. But also I just assumed that that's why it was such a big threat at the end. If they'd been the old kind of zombie, they could have that their fortress would have worked. But because they were these new ones, they were going to be able to overcome the perimeter and get in. So there you go. Honeybee, have you ever been to Graceland?
No, I haven't.
I was at Graceland once. It was great. I recommend it. I felt better. But then my truck got stolen the next day or that night.
Ooh.
So that wasn't great. So
yeah, that sucks.
I was moving back here. I was moving from New York back to Texas and driving a U-Haul with my brother and his wife at the time. And we stopped for the night in Memphis, and we had gone to Graceland. And I'm trying to remember now. Maybe we went to Graceland after that. No. I don't know. I forget. But anyway, the U-Haul got stolen out of the parking lot at the motel. And this was in December, and we had to rent a car to get back the rest of the way. And
God, that sounds
then
like
we
a
only got
fucking
and
nightmare.
then the roads were so bad, we only got a few, like maybe 12 miles further the next day, and had to stop again because there was just this huge winter storm that was freezing half the country, and we couldn't get anywhere. But at some point on that trip, either before or after the truck got stolen, we stopped and visited Graceland, and just the experience of being in Graceland was just very nice. I recommend it.
Yeah, they're called bolts. The other
Bolts
zombies.
after
Sorry,
Usain Bolt.
Bolts. Yeah.
Yes.
They're
so
wanted
athletic.
Yes, I wanted to go to Graceland with my mom because she's like a huge Elvis person. But I like Elvis because I have to, like, because my mom would punch me in the mouth if I didn't. And you can't say anything bad about Elvis, like, around. And, like, all my life, like, growing up, we would have this debate about who was better between Elvis and Jim Morrison, because that's who, like, I am obsessed with. And so yeah, I love Elvis because I have to, and I would go to Graceland, like, for my mom or, like, with my mom, but otherwise I just really don't give a shit. Don't tell her I said that.
Well, I'll just say Jim Morrison was never in a movie with Billy Barty, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well, Elvis probably didn't do as much acid, so what a loser.
Nobody did other things.
Yeah, but exactly.
A lot of pills.
Exactly.
Those were prescription. Those were prescribed to me by my doctor.
Oh my God, I almost spit out my water. I was like taking a drink of water when you did that. I almost spit it out.
I do want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that the police recovered my stolen truck 2 months later. Most of the stuff was still in it, but they took like all the electronics and the DVDs, left behind most of the comic books and clothes.
Fucking bitches. If you are out there and you're listening to this episode of this podcast, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
You pieces of shit.
It was bad. It was.
And your Barbies. Didn't they steal your Barbies?
My Barbie collection, yeah.
Sons of
That's
bitches.
a story for another time. We will, make a note. We will explain my Barbie collection on
make a
Patreon.
note.
We'll do a random stuff episode about my Barbie.
Yeah, we
collection.
need to do a random shit episode because I finished Tarzan, and boy, do I have a lot to fucking say about it. So yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be our first video episode.
Oh, okay.
The toy. All right, Honeybee, it's rating time. What are you gonna rate Zombieland Double Tap?
I'm still gonna give it 5. I'm gonna give it 5 brains. Yeah. I still loved it. I think it's great. For me personally, and I think a lot of people felt this way, but I feel like it just didn't quite hit my expectations. But I still loved it. I still enjoyed it. I still laughed. I was still surprised. So yeah, 5 for me. 5 brains.
Here's the thing. It would be 4 stars, but Rosario Dawson automatically adds an extra star to any movie.
And to anything she's ever done, ever.
The final total is a 5-star movie.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Folks, that's going to wrap it up for today and our 31 Days of the Dead. We'll be back tomorrow with another zombie movie until the month is over. Until then, I have been Precious D.
And I've been Honey Bee.
Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements.
And please, don't misuse science.
We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on your podcasting platform of choice. You can leave us a message and find links to all our things at mmftg.com.